Hello and welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. This week, we are going to talk about one of my favorite subjects and 4 tools to actualize more cash. Yes, specifically the word cash, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So, tool number 1 is very similar, if I remember correctly, to tool number 1 from the last week's show, which was about, I think, 3 unusual tools I use to change my body. And this one is, this tool is across the board, no matter what you're looking at changing or having different in your life. It is to be aware of your points of views. So as Dr. Dane here, co-founder of Access Consciousness, his quote that we talk about more than probably any other quote, and he's got a lot, is your point of view creates your reality. So if you have a point of view that money is hard to bring in, or cash is difficult, or you never have enough cash, or there's never enough cash, or all of those are what actually will ensure that you don't actualize more cash. So how do you become aware of your points of views? Well, there's many ways. 1, start paying attention. What are you saying out loud or in your head? When you're talking about money or thinking about money or cash, what is it that's going on in your head or coming out your mouth? Because that will really gift you some information about what your points of views are about them. The other way, and this way is a way that I resisted for a long time. So Gary Douglas, founder of Access Consciousness, has this book, How to Become Money, from I believe the early or mid 90s. So it's a very old book in that sense. And it is still so relevant and so potent in changing anything. And I have, starting September 1st, we are going to take every day and go through these 13 chapters. So a chapter a day for 13 days in a row. You'll find the link somewhere above, below, or if you can't find it, just message me on some sort of platform somewhere and I will get you the link. And if you happen to be the prereqs, so this one is very easy, you just need the book. And then for the 9 days after we finish this book, so this will be September 1st to the 13th, this is 2021, and then we're going to go into the advanced How to Become Money workbook for the next 9 days, because there's 9 chapters in here. So come play, guys. Come play. I am so excited about this. I have done these programs in some way, shape, or form for the past few years, and it is such a gift to get clear of your points of views, because in this book there's 13 questions that we go through, and those are all invitations to get you out of your points of views about money. And they're really bizarre questions, so they bring up a lot of interesting points of view, so it's such a gift. So which brings me to tool number 2 with this, and I'll come back to the points of views, but I want to speak about this. So there was a time when I actually did this workbook with a group of people 100 days in a row. Yes, we went through this workbook 100 times, and the greatest gift, now there was many, but the greatest gift from that for me was that a lot of times I was asking for money when I really was desiring cash. So this is why I use the terminology, for tools to actualize more cash, because money isn't just cash. This is where we have a lot of interesting points of views, that money is cash or currency or, say, credit card, whatever that is. But it's not. Money can be sunshine. Money can be a hug. Money can be dog shit. Money is everything. Money is just an energy, and energy is everything. So it's not just cash. So tool number 2 is ensure you are asking for cash. If that's what you would like, ask for it. And so if you come into, foundation with me or different programs that I offer, you will hear me ask, and this is the way that I word it. You can word it however works for you. But what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can you and your body be to actualize wealth, money, cash, luxury, and opulence with total ease and joy and glory? Anything that doesn't allow that to show up as if by magic we destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, 𝗵𝘃𝘁, boys and beyonds. And that is the clearing statement from Access Consciousness. You can go to theclearingstatement.com for more about how it works. But that's basically what you want to look at, is asking for what you desire, which is, for me, money, wealth, cash, luxury, and opulence. Those are just some really yummy energies that really light me up. So ensure that when you are asking that you're including the word cash, like the ask of cash, if that's what you desire. And I know that can be just a little bit confusing because we're taught that money is cash. But really, if you were to ever go through this workbook, you will start getting a sense that money isn't just cash. Money is so many things, and we can also be asking for cash. So I want to go back to tool number 1, which is about the point of view and clearing those points of views. So we talked about being willing to be aware of them. When you hear yourself saying things, or going through the workbook, of course. And the tool that you can use, such a simple tool that can change everything, is interesting point of view. I have that point of view. So if you are, let's say you're talking with a friend about money and you hear yourself say, money is just so hard for me, it's just so difficult. You don't even have to say anything to that person. You can just in your head go, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Or you can just kind of, okay, I'm going to look at this later. And when you get home, you could really get present with that, like, and clear it an interesting point of view. It doesn't have to be difficult, guys. It can be so simple. You just have to be aware. And you've heard me say this. If you're not new here, you have heard me talk about that a lot, especially lately, is really to change anything, just add awareness. And the more that you're willing to add the awareness to whatever it is, the quicker it is that's going to change it. So that's why doing like the workbook every day or something like that, it allows you to become aware of those points of views a lot quicker. They come up a lot quicker based on the questions being asked. You're able to clear them, and then you can go into your everyday life in a totally different space about money and cash and wealth and all of the yumminess. For me, luxury and opulence are two energies that I'm always asking for also. So I add those, but you can truly do whatever works for you, of course. So tool number 1, be aware of the points of views and clear them so that you can truly be allowing yourself to receive whatever it is that you've decided, or have, decided, but also then lived that you can't. Because there was this post on Facebook recently, and this gal talked about, and I'm still so intrigued by it because it gave me such a gift of awareness of, she spoke about how she wore a crown and she went into a restaurant and she sat there wearing a crown in the restaurant by herself until it felt normal to be sitting in the restaurant wearing a crown. Yeah, right? Like, really get the sense of that. So if you're used to talking about, or even just thinking about how difficult money is, how hard it is, how you never have enough cash, how there's always more month at the end of the money, or whatever that phrase is, that's the normal in the sense. That's what you're creating. That's what you're actualizing. So it takes a different choice to change it. Takes a different choice to change it. When I look at myself from, say, pre-access, so 2011 and earlier, I was doing some other modalities. So I was looking at different points of views with money and such. And so I had made some changes for sure. And then once I started using these tools and becoming aware of points of views and being aware of the ones I was using to limit myself, that became this huge invitation to really start getting present with me, to really start hearing what I was saying or what I was thinking about with regards to money. And having those points of views change. Like I remember one of, I would say the biggest points of views that I can recall was that I had to work hard for money. I had to work hard for money. Well, let me change it for anybody who has this in their world right now. I have to work hard for money. I have to work hard for money. I have to work hard for money. So all of the secret, hidden, invisible, covert, unsaid, unacknowledged, undisclosed implants and explants, holding that in place. Will you revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, denounce, reclaim, destroy, and uncreate all that times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, 𝗵𝘃𝗃, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah, and so what that clearing is when we have a lot of energy on something, kind of like maybe like a cliche or something, we just use all those fancy words to change it. So you don't even have to know how it works, just know that it works. It's like a magic wand. So I lived and breathed that point of view, which meant I had to work very hard for money. And I put in many, many hours in my business. And I also then, if money did come in, say with some ease, I had to make sure it went out quickly, which isn't necessarily like, it wasn't a cognitive thought. I never sat around and thought, oh, that money's coming in a little bit too easy, I'm gonna have to get rid of it. It was never that. It was such an unconscious thing that it just came in, and then suddenly there was a bill, there was something, and it just went back out again. And it wasn't until I really, really recognized that point of view that I was operating from, that I had to work hard for money. And once I was willing to change it, and it wasn't like I cleared it once and it went away, because there was a lot of different areas of my life. There was, my value was tied up. This is my own. I had it on myself. My value was tied up in the work that I was doing. My value was tied up in how hard I worked. This reality really gives kudos to people who work hard. I remember I would travel. So this was way, way early in my days. I started my business in 2002. And I would travel around to these small towns in Saskatchewan and Alberta, and somebody would host me at their house, and I would do sessions. They would give me one of their bedrooms or something, and I would go in, and the person would come in. And at that time I was a professional medium. So I was working with people doing readings. And so they would come in, and there were days I worked 14 hours without even a break. I'd go to the washroom or whatever, but I just worked and worked and worked. Now, I loved it too. So there was also that. And it was like so unkind to my body when I think back to that, especially those days of just hours and hours and hours. And I would get back to the hotel room and I would be like sick. It was a lot of things, and it was all the points of views and all of that. And so if you can start to get a sense of it, of the points of views that you have, it's going to shift and change it so much, even just the awareness of them. Okay, so I went on and on about tool number one. Tool number two, of course, is about asking for the cash. That's something you would like more of. Make sure you're asking for it. Now, I want to actually speak about that from another direction, okay? And I often talk about this in Foundation. On the last day of Foundation, I go through a creation process with everybody. And we go through all the questions I ask myself when I'm making lists and asking about things and that. You want to be really aware that when you're asking for cash, that it's actually cash you desire. Now, we've talked about asking for money when it's really cash. Here's the thing. A lot of times what we do is we actually ask for the money for something. So we might say, okay, well, if I have $500, I would go and buy that beautiful dress that I saw. So we start asking for the $500. But what we're doing is we're cutting the universe off at its knees, because we're not asking for what we desire. We're asking for the conclusion of what we desire, which means we're not actually willing to receive to the degree that we could. So the other part of asking is make sure that you're asking for what you truly desire. If you would like that dress, ask for the dress. It might show up in the cash to go purchase it. It might show up as a gift. It might show up as somebody knowing you would like it and having one in their closet that they don't no longer wear. There's so many ways it could show up. So that's the other piece. And it's not wrong to ask for cash. If you desire cash, I love cash. I love cash in the bank. I love cash in my hands. I love cash all over. I am often asking for cash. And if there is something that I would like, I ask for that thing also. So we want to have those parts of that. So number 3 is, we've kind of talked a little bit about it, but receive it. Receiving is a huge part of actualizing more cash. Huge part. You've got to be willing to receive it. Because as the example I gave earlier, when I wasn't willing to have the money come in with ease, I would get rid of it right away. And that's a level of non-receiving. And it's not just about receiving money. So receiving is about receiving everything. A lot of times, if we have judgment about something, if we say, so right now it's a little bit cooler outside, I'm actually personally really grateful. And if you know me, this is weird because it's summer 2021 here, and I usually like to be in my swimming pool in the summer. However, we've had such a hot summer so far that this is the first time, and I'm not sure how many months, I've actually put makeup on because it's just too hot. It would just all like sweat off. So right now it's cooler outside. I'm super grateful. But let's say we've had a cooler summer. I might not be so excited about another cool day. I might not be willing to receive it. Or rain. You know, some places right now are getting a lot of rain. We are not. We have had a lot of dry weather. We have a lot of drought here. But, you know, there's that. So it's like really be willing to receive everything. So whether it's the dog shit, and I use that example because it's one of the things that is talked about in the How to Become Money workbook. So that's where because I don't usually reference dog shit. I might reference cat shit, but not dog shit. Anyway, it's the receiving of it all. It's having no judgment in your world about anything. Now, to wake up and choose that, I mean, what would that take? And a lot of times it is this kind of work in progress, much like becoming aware of the points of views and clearing them and choosing different. Receiving to me is that also. It's an everyday, every moment choice, and the willingness to be really aware of when I'm not receiving. So we live on a big, beautiful acreage. We've got about 5 acres here. And then there's an acreage next door, and they've probably got 5 acres and another acreage beside them. And it's called an estate acreage, or estate acreages or something. Anyway. So last night they had a wedding a couple acreages over, and I could actually hear the songs. I could have sung along with the songs. That is how loud the music was, or, you know, also how it carries and all of that. Now, there would have been a time that I'd have had a lot of points of views about that. Like, I mean, a lot. Noise to me is still not necessarily an ease thing to receive, depending on the noise, of course. If I'm watching TV, then that's an ease noise to receive for the most part. If it starts going staticky or something, and that noise is really loud often, or even commercials, not that we don't even have that sort of TV anymore. We just watch Netflix and we stream shows. But back when there was commercials and the radio or the TV program would be a certain level, and then the commercial would come on and it would be loud, like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so there would have been a time that last night would have been very, very difficult for me. And I would have been in the victim energy, the trauma drama energy, the how dare they energy, the don't they know there's probably, I have no clue, but I'm pretty sure there's some sort of a sound bylaw at a certain time and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. My niece got married a few weeks ago. I remember how fun that is. I remember, and it's outside and it's beautiful. And anyway, all the things. And I was just so thrilled with myself that I received it. I received it. And I had no point of view, but I didn't have to use a tool at all. Now, the other gift I will say is, again, as it's cooler today, it was cooler yesterday a little bit too, which meant I didn't have to sleep with any windows open. We don't have air conditioning. So in this heat, we've had all the patio doors and the windows open while we sleep, but I didn't have to last night. So maybe if I was trying to fall asleep and it was noisy, it might have bothered me a little bit, but because it was cooler, everything was all shut up too. So I was like, how magical am I to create a little bit cooler so that just close everything up. And then at about 11 o'clock, they did these beautiful fireworks, which I got to be a part of. I actually stood at our bedroom window and watched them. They were gorgeous. And again, it all was very exciting for me, which is really cool. And I'm just acknowledging myself, which is another part of receiving, guys. Please start acknowledging you, which is not a grammatically correct word. And it's it matches what we're talking about. You want to acknowledge you, which means when you can see that you've chose something different, celebrate you. You don't have to tell anybody about it. I mean, I'm telling you guys, but I'm not going to post on Facebook about how grateful I am I can receive the noise of the neighbors. That would just be funny. And if people know me, they would get that. That's a huge celebration. But it really is this, the acknowledgement of you, because often we're so focused on where we'd like to be that we're not choosing to celebrate where we've come from, how much change we've made. I just did a VIP day with a client yesterday on the changing your body with your body. I've been doing these amazing VIP days. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for the people I get to play with. So if you would like one, link will be somewhere. Would love to play with you in your sweet body too. And that was a huge part of what was actually required for this person to do, and really to acknowledge the changes that they've made. And what it was a loved one of hers who had died came through into the session and was like thanking her so much for what she had changed, not just for her, like for her life and her living, but the person without the body was explaining how much it's changed the dynamic of the family, like what the ripple out effect has been by her being willing to make the changes, stop the cycles of abuse and insanity and all of that, what it's actually done. And it was such a huge gift, obviously to her and also to me, to really get the energy of when we clear a point of view, when we make a change, when we choose something different, what we're contributing to the earth, what we're contributing to other people, what we're contributing to our family, our friends, our cultures, our countries, our everything. Like when we make a different choice, a choice that's more expansive, a choice that's lighter, like what that actually creates, it's huge, my sweet friends. It's huge. And I just want to mention this. I don't actually do mediumship anymore. It was just it's a very rare occasion that shows up. And I just want to say that so I don't get a bunch of emails asking for readings, because it's just not something I choose to do anymore. Just happened to show up, and I'm always willing to follow the energy. But it's not something that we sit down and do an actual reading. The person just happened to be there and would, desire to pass this on. It was such a gift. So with receiving, a tool that, I was talking about the tools, and receiving, of course, is a tool, but how the heck do you do it? Yeah. So when you become aware of something you're not willing to receive, so if you're looking out the window and it's raining or it's sunny, whatever it might be, and you have a point of view about that, what you can do is just take a moment and be like, barriers down, barriers down, barriers down. And you're energetically pulling the barriers down, and barriers are judgment. Barriers are looking out the window going, it shouldn't be raining, or it should be raining, whatever that is. Like, rather than just being like, oh, okay, just seeing what is, it's the judgment that it should be different. And so when you're pulling those energetic barriers down, that's the tool that you can use in that moment. Or maybe you're watching a news program and they're talking about something that's going on and you've got a lot of points of views about that. Barriers down, barriers down, barriers down, all levels, layers, universes, realities, anywhere I haven't mentioned, barriers down. So you're pulling them down so you can receive more and more and more. And receiving isn't about being like having a point of view that it's good or that it's bad. Receiving is having no point of view. Having no point of view whatsoever. You're just aware of what is with no point of view. So you could hear a news story about something that's really, not creating greater on the planet. You just don't need to have a point of view about it. You could then go into, okay, what can I be and do different today to change this? Ask a question about it to really inspire something different rather than, that's so horrible, that's so wrong, that needs to change, how dare they? Those are all barriers. Again, barriers. So tool number 4 is another question. I just gave a question and it's very similar to the one I just said. But what can I be and do different today to actualize the cash I desire? Yeah. Universe, show me what I can be and do different today to actualize the cash I desire. And you just ask that. So with any question you're asking when we're using the tools of Access Consciousness, we're not looking for an answer. There will be an awareness. There will be something that comes up somewhere. Might not be in that moment, might not be that hour, might not even be that day, but it will come if you're willing to ask, universe, what can I be and do different today to actualize the cash I desire? And it just takes you into this spaciousness, into the possibilities, into what else is actually possible and what you can be different, what you can do different. So we're infinite beings, and there is this space of being and doing, both of those energies. A lot of times people like to just do, or some people like to just be, and it's actually both. What can I be and do different today to actualize the cash I desire? And you could rhyme. What could I be or do different today to actualize the cash I desire right away? You can ask that however you would like to do it, but those are the 4. 1, clear the points of views. Come join me in the 13 days of How to Become Money Workbook, and then the 9 days of Advanced How to Become Money Workbook. Number 2, ask for cash. Make sure you're not just asking for money if you desire cash. Number 3, drop the barriers and receive. Be willing to be aware of the things you're not willing to receive so that you can actually choose to receive them with no point of view. And then number 4, what can I be and do different today to actualize the cash I desire right away? Yeah. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for you. If you loved this, share it. I would be ever so grateful. And if you ever have an idea for a show, please feel free to email me with that. If you are on my email list, you get the weekly shows emailed to you every Sunday usually. So you can just hit reply and let me know. Or if you're watching this somewhere, you can just type below, because we've got it, of course, on Facebook groups and on YouTube and Instagram and all the places. So however you would like to let me know the show you would like to hear about, just contact me. Awesome. Have a great week, guys. I look forward to chatting again next week.